Hello everyone, welcome to High Tech Study Plus. In today's video, we are going to discuss the first chapter of class 10 and the topic is chemical reactions and equations. Let us first discuss what is a chemical reaction. A chemical reaction is a process in which substances called reactants get converted into different substances called products. Or I can write R gives rise to P. Now let us discuss how can we determine that a chemical reaction has taken place. The four observations in the screen help us in determining whether a chemical reaction has taken place or not. These are the change in state, change in color, evolution of gas, and change in temperature. Now whenever wax is heated, it gets converted into water vapor and carbon dioxide. As we see that there is a change in state from solid to gas in this case. So, a chemical reaction takes place. Now, a change in color can be observed when lead nitrate reacts with potassium iodide and the transition is from colorless to yellow color in this case. When zinc granules react with sulfuric acid, we get zinc sulfate and hydrogen gas is evolved. This is an example of this too. Here hydrogen gas is evolved and heat is also evolved. So there is a change in temperature and this suggests that a chemical reaction has taken place. Many times we have come across the word chemical equation. What is a chemical equation? Those that represent a chemical reaction are called chemical equation. For example, if I write here 2H2 plus O2 gives rise to 2H2O, it is a balanced chemical equation. But if I write here hydrogen plus oxygen gives rise to water, it is a odd equation. When we use the symbols of the particular element and write the equation, we call it as a chemical equation. As per the law of conservation of mass, mass can neither be created nor be destroyed. A chemical reaction also follows the law of conservation of mass. So in a chemical reaction, the mass of products is equal to the mass of reactants. Now in the reaction that I have written here, the mass of all the hydrogen in the reactant site plus the mass of the oxygen should be equal to the mass of the two molecules of water formed. We can also state it in another way that the number of atoms of each element remains the same before and after the reaction. Let us have a quick discussion on how to balance a chemical reaction. Suppose the reaction is C2H6 plus O2 gives rise to CO2 plus H2O. In the above equation, let us start balancing with that compound or that molecule which contains the maximum number of atoms. Here C2H6 has 8 atoms, oxygen has 2 atoms, carbon dioxide has 3 atoms and water vapor also has 3 atoms. We shall start with C2H6 as it has got the highest number of atoms, 8 atoms. There are 6 hydrogen atoms in the reactant side and there are 2 in the right hand side. Let us balance them first by putting the coefficient as 3. If we balance the equation first by putting coefficient 3 as 3H2O in the product side to balance hydrogen, then the number of oxygen atoms in the product side shall become odd. So it will be difficult for us to balance thereafter. Let us write 6 as coefficient of H2O and 2 as coefficient of C2H6. So 2C2H6 plus O2 gives rise to CO2 plus 6H2O. Here we have 12 atoms of hydrogen and here also we have 12 atoms of hydrogen. So one of our objectives is fulfilled. We have balanced hydrogen. Now we have to balance carbon and oxygen. If we use 4 as the coefficient of CO2 in the product side, carbon atoms will be balanced, 4 CO2. So 2C2H6 plus O2 gives rise to 4 CO2 plus 6 H2O. Now here there are 8 plus 6 atoms, which is equal to 14 atoms of oxygen in the product side, and in the reactant side there are only 2 oxygen atoms. So if I write a 7 here, oxygen shall also be balanced. So our final equation is 2C2H6 plus 7O2 gives rise to 4CO2 plus 6H2O. We'll be coming up very soon with the second part of this video. Hope it is helpful for the revision.